call to order here and we all know each other here. So I think if you could just do the roll call, that would be great.
You bet. Tim Horst,
Present?
Jim Shirk,
Present.
Katrina Corcoran,
Here.
Christopher Fellerhoff,
Here.
Abigail Flores, Corporal Anderson, give me 1 second here. Joel Yap,
Here.
Chair, I do have some people still coming in virtually.
Okay.
Elaine Watson,
Here.
John Marsh, Brent Buffington,
Here.
Brent, are you virtual or in person?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank
Yes,
you.
I'm here.
Samantha Flores,
Here.
Daniel Rodriguez.
Here.
Are we in person?
In person, yes.
Thank you. Some of the audio is really good. So Jason Jackman,
Here virtual.
Jonathan Forbes,
Here, virtually.
Peter Davitt,
Here.
David Aylesworth,
Here in person.
John Kubicki.
Here, virtually.
Thank you. Faye Miller, Brandon Littleton, Mike Disco, Sally Thompson, Ed Newsom, David Solidi. I know we've had some new people added. Did I miss anybody? Okay, let's see. We need to have 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. I'm showing 8 in person. Is that correct?
Right. Yep, correct.
And Corporal Anderson is online. Okay.
Quorum is 9. Yeah. All right. So we're just one short of the quorum, but maybe someone will make it here on time. We'll see. We can go, and I don't see anyone in the audience, but is there anyone virtually who would like to give a public comment? All right, hearing none, we can go ahead and move on to the next item. The members' interests and future topic requests. So I guess I have a little announcement that's worth saying and a little adjustment, and we'll kind of figure out what the implications are of that. But I'm now with the city of Tampa. I accepted a job with them to be the Vision Zero safety engineer over there. So still, yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Now I can blame you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now
Now I explain what Jim was talking about. That explains that.
So yeah, I'm on my second week there now and still just getting oriented with everyone and their roles and what projects are going on and everything. But I'll, yeah, I guess be advancing this cause from a different perspective in a different agency. So I'm actually going to be taking over John Marsh's position with that's the city of Tampa has someone from the mobility group. And we were talking amongst ourselves and we're like, it doesn't make sense for 2 people from the same department to be representing here and to have votes here as well. So I'll be taking his position. He'll be the backup to me. And then I guess.
Is that free up in that large position?
It would free up an at-large position, correct? Yeah, and of course, I'm willing to do the chair, you know, in a continual manner. I just wanted to like see Ben if there was any regulations against that, or if there was anything in the charter that said a, you know,
It said, whether you can.
Whether I, could, or whether I need to vacate and have one of the citizens take it.
I honestly not aware. I would need to pull up the
Charter.
charter,
Okay.
yeah.
Let's say, sorry, Ben, this is Katrina. I know that for a bit on LRC, there was an elected official that was the chair. So they could select,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
don't quote me, but just that I know that there was an elected official that was the chair. So,
Cool.
I don't think he's
I'm not
part of the
sure.
ITS committee. He's city staff.
Okay.
That's good. Probably use it, so.
Yeah, okay, for city staff.
I just think that that kind of fall on the same thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Be not.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, I'm happy to keep going if there's no conflict, which kind of is what it sounds like, but I guess I will just instead of saying citizen at large, I'll just say city of Tampa for me, but yeah, it's,
I'm also happy to help with that. And I know at one point,
oh, okay,
you had discussed resigning the position, and we,
Yeah.
I hadn't spent any time thinking about it, but if that helps.
yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to take over sooner rather than later, but I would be open to that, or if you wanted to.
So let's have that, we maybe can have a conversation afterwards, to see how, yeah, but not tonight, but yeah,
Sure. I'm excited to hear that you're interested. That's great news. So,
yeah, it kind of, yeah. Took me, I wasn't, I just wasn't thinking about it, about doing the emotions. Also is, and one question for Ben, is David sort of, did Stephen Benson was listed last time as an alternate, was that for John's? He works for the city of Tampa also, or was that for a different seat?
I can't remember.
Okay,
he does work in a different division,
yeah,
so I'm in.
So he doesn't get-
information.
he doesn't, he didn't know he was an alternate. And he doesn't,
Really?
and he doesn't get notifications, so he just asked me to share that with whoever,
Yeah, better take them on then.
well, or start sending him meeting announcements. They start inviting him to meetings.
But it depends what position he's in an alternate for.
That's what I was.
City of Tampa is now represented by Tim.
I didn't know if city
The alternate is John.
Is that the only city seat? Yeah, and maybe he's the alternate for that position. In which case he could remain the alternate, but he should still be invited to meetings.
Yeah, I guess it's like,
Yeah.
I don't think you have two alternates.
Oh, is John gonna be the alternate?
Yeah,
That makes sense, sorry. So we can take Stephen on.
yeah, John came to me too, and he's like, you know what, I think I want to do this. I think that'd be good. So
Okay.
it was his idea, not mine. We didn't force him into
So
it.
Stephen was John's alternate, but now John can be the alternate.
Yeah.
That
Well,
makes
if you
sense.
talk to John, you might say, let's Steve be the alternate.
He was interested and, you know, he'd been here for many years.
Yeah.
so.
Jason Jackman said online, I believe there is no limit to alternates.
Yeah, why not keep him on there?
Well, somebody needs to tell him.
Uh,
Give us count. So that's you, that's, I guess, your responsibility.
Or that's up to the city of Tampa.
Or it's the city. of Tampa. Yeah,
It's your
I have
seat. that you're-
No clue that he was an alternate. So,
His name was read last, month.
Okay.
When we were trying to figure out how many seats we had.
yeah,
I knew it was president.
but yeah, we'll open up another citizen at large seat, so. That, and then, I think we can just go right, into the approval of minutes is the next one.
Members interest.
Oh,
I got one for you.
Yeah.
Actually, I got two. Critical Mass is this Friday night, 8 o'clock, Curtis Exit Park. Weather will be nice. It will not rain, will not snow. And, the Temple Terrace ride with the mayor was canceled last week due to weather. So they're gonna ride now on the 5th of April morning. I don't know, what time's 7:30, 8 o'clock, something like that. I'm sure it's on the Facebook or whatever. And then there's that slow ride in University City, which is tomorrow morning. Meet at 8, ride at 9, be done by 10. It'll be windy, but dry.
And I got one. Christina Costa is hosting a slow roll in West Shore area on April 6th at 9 a.m.
Saturday.
Saturday, April 6th, 9 a.m. And it's just, come, nice casual, few miles, slow and slow, have a good time.
I'd like to go to that. She actually reached out to me. She's like, "Oh, hey, I saw you're starting at the city of Tampa. I'd love to connect with you sometimes." What was the details on that?
It's in, I'm not sure exactly the meeting point, but it's in the West Shore area. It's going to be, 9 a.m. on the morning of Saturday, April 6th.
Our agenda packet had that at the attachment on the agenda packet?
Oh, he was on the, great. All right, anybody else for members' interest? Anybody else online?
Julian Anderson. Just a second, the slow roll. I'll be there tomorrow. It's at 14013 North 22nd Street at the University Area Community Development Center.
Okay, what event is that?
That's the slow ride tomorrow morning at the university area.
Oh, okay.
The meet at 8, riding it from 9 to 10. Up by 22nd Street, you said?
Yes, 22nd and 140th. It's gonna be a short, I think it's 2.7 miles, very slow. Like he said, arrive at 8, be riding at 9, definitely done by 10.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, well then hearing none, we can go ahead and move on to the approval of minutes from February 28th.
No quorum.
Oh, true. We will pass that. And then come back to that later next meeting. And we'll go on to action items, so.
We could do the status reports just on the off chance someone will show up and we'll reach something. Amber, would you like to do your presentation? I get it over with at this point.
Certainly.
All right, Amber, you've got the floor.
Okay. Just want to make sure that you all can see the screen okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Terrific. My name is Amber Simmons, TPO staff, and the purpose of this evening's 11-slide presentation is to give you an opportunity to comment on the draft Unified Planning Work Program, or UPWP, which contains our 2-year TPO budget. We also included a timeline for completion. The full draft of this document is posted on our website, and the link is provided in your agenda item. The UPWP is a requirement of all TPOs, and while it's a federal requirement, the purpose of the document is to coordinate transportation planning activities for federal and state funding among our partners, and it outlines the TPO budget for the next 2 fiscal years. The Unified Planning Work Program differs from the Transportation Improvement Program, or TIP, in that the TIP identifies and prioritizes specific projects, and the UPWP consists of the planning studies necessary to carry out programs or are the precursors to qualifying for many discretionary funding opportunities. It becomes effective July 1st, 2024, and is valid through June 30th, 2026. So what's in it? The task numbers in the UPWP outline the work that will be completed. Examples of the work that's found under each task is under task 1 is pretty much all things administrative, the UPWP development, revisions, amendments, grant management, certification, apportionment, and invoicing. Task 2 is a big one that contains all corridor studies, congestion, safety, IT projects, resiliency, complete streets, active transportation, intermodal and freight, transit, transportation demand management, transportation disadvantage planning, and the environment. Our third task is the long-range transportation plan with its amendments and data collection, which includes things like traffic counts, multimodal counts, level of service, etc. Our fourth task, the transportation improvement plan, contains the TIP development and amendments along with the state TIP coordination. Our fifth task is all about outreach efforts, committees, and our board work. Task 6 is all our local and state coordination with our agency partners, and that includes things like the Suncoast Transportation Alliance and the Tampa Bay Transportation Management Area, or TMA. Task 7 is new for us this year. This will help us track efforts that we spend exploring a regional MPO. And Task 8 is also regional in nature, but that tracks transfer of funds between MPOs. And here's our budget. It consists of planning and FTA funds of $2,495,390 in fiscal year 25 and $2,535,070 in fiscal year 26, $600,000 annually in Surface Transportation Block Grant dollars, or SU, and lastly, an estimated $53,000 per year in Commission for Transportation Disadvantaged, or CTD funds. This does not include any deobligated fiscal year 24 funds or discretionary funds. What is being deobligated from this fiscal year is $650,350. Here's our schedule and milestones. The preliminary draft has been submitted to FDOT for their first review. We are now sharing the draft with you, which, by the way, was linked in your agenda item, or you could find it on our website under Plans and Studies Unified Planning Work Program. We will take your comments and feedback to the board, and a summary of the comments will be documented in the appendices of the work program. In May, the board will approve the final version of the UPWP, and it will be submitted to FDOT by May 15th. FDOT and Federal Highway then reviews it, comments, and the new UPWP becomes effective July 1st, 2024. This extremely text-heavy slide is a summary of the projects we had in fiscal year 23 and 24. These are some of the completed projects, as well as the current 2-year disadvantaged business enterprise percentage of the TPO, which is at currently 13% for all our eligible DBE projects. Now for some of the newer projects that will be in the fiscal year 25-26. These are the critical path projects, which are projects the TPO are required to do, as well as those which started in fiscal year 24 and will carry into fiscal year 25. This next slide are the requests for planning and analysis, which is not a checklist or an exhaustive list of each project, but the projects that we are exploring based on funding and our partner interest. These areas include transit, complete streets, non-motorized planning, technology, freight, and multimodal studies. Now I'd like to open it up for comments and discussion, and we'll be making the notes for suggestions and adding the summary to the comments to the final UPWP.
Do we have any questions or comments for Amber? Amber, I've got a question. What is the Unified Planning Work Program?
Sure.
Like,
So
in a zoomed out sense.
in a zoomed out sense, so in a very basic way, it outlines the TPO's budget for 2 years. It's kind of a scope of work and the budget that we use to pay for all of our expenses, all our studies, the consultants, and it outlines what types of studies we'll be doing for 2 years.
Okay, that's simple. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, anybody else?
Len Watson, Amber, are there any projects that carry over from the 2023-24 UPWP?
Yes. Yes. So hang on here. Let me grab these so you can see them again. So some of these that you see here are carryover projects. So our fellowship does a lot of the LRTP projects are carryovers because that takes quite a while to put together, and that has spanned 23, 24, and will run into 25 before it's adopted. You can see in some of the other completed projects, some of them are going to wrap up right at the end of the year. But for instance, the multimodal counts wrapped not too long ago. The traffic counts should wrap by the end of the year. But there is also a lot of the long-range transportation plan pieces that will wrap, that were started this year and will wrap in 25.
Amber, it's Peter Davitt. Can you go back to the slide with the be obligated? Explain what that is to me.
Obligated? Sure. So of our total funding, like you see here, the 25, 26 numbers,
Sure.
at the end of the 2-year cycle, in order for us to be able to use any remaining funds, things that we haven't actually paid out yet to consultants or in payroll or whatnot, we have to deobligate those funds, however much we think we're going to need fairly quickly, and let our partners, FDOT, know. So once we deobligate them, they take them out of our fiscal year 23-24 budget, and then they move them, and they will be available again in fiscal year 25.
So that this 650 is used to help pay for the 25 budget? Money that's going forward?
Right, it's used to help finish paying for 24. So
Right.
for instance, if a project's rolling into 25, but it's not going to finish, in order for us to pay the final bills, so to speak, we have to roll that money into the next contract. And that's how we do it, is through the deobligation process.
Okay, cool. That's what I was guessing, but I wasn't quite certain. All right, thank you.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay, anybody else? All right, thank you so much, Amber, for that update.
Thank you.
All right, I believe we now have a quorum. Excellent. Mr. John Kubicki joined us in person, so.
Thank you for coming by. Ready for weather.
Yeah.
Driving by and we were one short, so it's able to.
Yeah, appreciate it. I got your text message. I'm like, I know he's on the way. I know he's coming, so.
Like Gail had.
Oh, yeah, we can go back and do the approval of minutes real quick.
Oh, yeah, good thing.
I don't know if anyone's had a chance to look at those, but it shouldn't take too long.
Yeah, I actually had a question related to, I was on virtually, and on the sheet it said that I was missing. So I was gonna see about getting that updated. Don't know what needs to be done though, Gail. This is John Kubicki.
Yeah, sure. I'll go ahead and update that. No problem.
Thank you.
Nice.
Any others, comments, edits? Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
Jim Shern, I move, we approve the minutes as amended.
David Ellsworth, second.
Did you get those, Gail?
Yes, that was Jim Shirk and Dave Aylesworth, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
And are there any opposed? Okay, motion passes, minutes are approved. And now we can go on and turn over to you, Ben.
Sure, so I have two questions or items to discuss today. And they're both going to be fairly informal, but the first is just a support letter that TPO staff have been circulating around for the Gulf Coast Corridor Trail. And as a lot of you may know, Hillsborough County, our South Coast Greenway is just part of that wider regional trail plan for the Gulf Coast. And the idea was that it would link communities, across the west coast of Florida, Dallas to Collier County. It's about halfway complete, but it would really benefit from a higher ranking in FDOT's Sun Trail network, which is it's a statewide system of high priority trail corridors for bicyclists and pedestrians. But those rankings are competitive, and So what our executive director, Johnny Wong, recently did, he submitted this letter of support to the Sun Trail statewide coordinator. Her name is Robin Birdsong, just encouraging a higher ranking of the Gulf Coast Trail so that it can be completed, linked together. And so that's just been up in the air for a little while. I actually just got an email this evening saying that the Florida Greenways and Trails Council, they've been meeting for today and tomorrow, and they already completed the ranking apparently. So it looks like the Gulf Coast Corridor Trail is going to be at number 4. I don't know if there's any wiggle room or if it's still up in the air at all at this point. But our recommendation here was just for BPAC to encourage committee members to send their own emails encouraging that higher ranking of the Gulf Coast Trail. So yeah, that's where we stand right now.
Do you have the email address?
Yes, it's not in the packet you got, but I dumped it right here. Yeah, just robin.birdsong@TOP.
I guess number 4 isn't too bad. I mean, what does that mean practically? Do you know?
Practically, I know I heard that FDOT is going to prioritize the top 2 trails in particular. And that would be the Coast to Coast Trail and the St. John's River to Sea. Right, FDOT has said that they're committed to finishing those 2. And then number 3 is Heart of Florida Trail, right? And we're at 4. I don't know exactly how much, of a difference it is between 3 and 4, but my understanding is that the top 2 are in sort of a higher tier.
Yeah, okay. I guess the Heart of Florida goes north-south through the middle, I guess.
So
All right, so it sounds like it's already been kind of acted upon, so there's no need or requirement for us to do a motion here.
yeah, that's one option, is just to move forward. I could also just consult with staff after this meeting and ask if it's still up in the air. You could kind of just, introduce emotions, encouraging members to send emails if staff confirms that there's a point in it. If staff confirms that it's still a discussion.
Well, then, yeah, we got that email address and we can send our emails to advocate for its place as the number 3 instead of the number 4 on the list.
I'd like to remind everybody that there's nothing in the center of the state but phosphate mines and cows. Most of the people in Florida are on the coast. And we want to have a trail that serves the people, not the cows. Although most of the legislators represent the cows, but that's another story.
If you look in the agenda packet of the example letters sent by Johnny Wong, he used the language of asking the consideration of placing Gulf Coast Trail at the very top. And I assume that would equate with number 1. So that might be a message to include in your email if it's still worth doing, because I think it's true. Like Ben said, that 1 and 2 are really the ones that are kind of going to get the most active funding.
And 1 and 2, I would say, are like close to being done. Like,
Yeah,
it's getting there. It's really getting there.
I mean, that's the language. And I'll just, for everybody's information, report that this topic came up at our Greenways Committee meeting earlier this month, I guess it was. And that committee made a motion to encourage either Sally Thompson as the chair and or some official representative of the county to also send a letter to the council requesting that consideration for high ranking. And we did send that from John Patrick, who's the Division Director at Community and Infrastructure Planning, and I know Sally sent a personal email relating her position as chair of the Greenways Committee and their collective interest and her interest in that too. I guess it didn't, I don't know what number it was at before, if it went up a bit, but not as high as we wanted it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, that's something we can do. All right, any other comments or questions for Ben here?
So you want a motion?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. I need a motion to encourage BPAC members to send support letters, if the decision is not final. If it's still up in the air.
I will even write your email for you. Quote, please place the Gulf Coast Trail at the top of the state's priority list for Sun Trail funding. Write that email, send it.
I so move.
Hey, look at that. You gotta create the motion though.
This is Jim Shark. I move that we create an email to be sent to Ms. Birdsong, encouraging her to place the the Gulf Coast Trail at the top of the Sun Trail list for funding. Because of a lot of reasons, mostly of which that would connect more people in the state than any of the other choices.
I like it. Do we have a second?
It's Peter Davitt. I'll second that motion.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
I'm gonna have to abstain from the vote,
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
just because of the conflict with another FDOT district.
Yeah. District 1 would benefit.
Was,
They would.
Exactly.
is that John Kubicki who's abstaining?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Okay, and all those opposed, please say aye. All right, the motion passes. We've all agreed to send an email, so we're gonna send the email.
Who was the second on that?
Peter Davitt.
Thank you.
And I'll send an update on what I hear you all as soon as I can.
And just to be clear, we're drafting a collective email or we're each individually committed?
Individual. I
Yeah,
feel like, 10, emails to this person's inbox is gonna get their attention and bother them more.
That's fine. So we're waiting on Ben for confirmation that there's a purpose in it. Well, I mean, if it's a done deal and it's like too bad that, we still can, but
yeah. And, moreover, you all aren't bound to send those emails just because you voted as BPAC, so I will follow up with you all and, you can use your discretion based on.
Administrative thing. Would you like for us to CC you on our emails?
I don't think that's necessary.
Okay.
I wouldn't worry about it. All right, if we've got that dealt with, I just wanted to share some updates on the multimodal counts because I think that's right up BPAC's alley and we have some interesting little things going on. Let's see. So the summary sheets for actually all the count data is available on our SharePoint at this point, and you should have the link in your packet. So we have two summary sheets in that archive that give you a good overview of the data. This is the one for bicyclist and pedestrian counts. And I thought that I just wanted to run through the stations or the count locations that BPAC recommended in particular. We had 13th Street north of East Hillsborough Avenue, and that got only 15 and 13 total bicyclists and pedestrians. Same with Gray Street west of McDill, 30 and 33. But we did see some higher numbers on Zeal Street, west of Henderson Boulevard. That one, 119 bicyclists, almost 20 pedestrians. And also Gibsonton west of US 301, So that got 77 and 32. So did I miss this one? There was also Waters Avenue, east of North Florida Ave. And that was 195 and 74. So 3 out of the 5 locations got hundreds of, over 100 bicycles, pedestrians.
Were those locations on our priority list that we had done?
Yeah, they're on the top 10, and I just drew from those in particular.
How did you get the counts? Or?
The counts, they were collected by the cameras. The partnership that we have with Dinesh to do multimodal. The multimodal counts, right? It was about a 24-hour window for each. So these are all in a single day.
Yeah, that presentation was last month. She came in, it was like 84, 86 pages of pictures and more detail than you could swallow out.
Exactly, yeah.
Way more detail than you could swallow, but yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, and I just wanted to put it on your radar. And right now, the link that you have, it doesn't have the BPAC selections highlighted, but I think I'm going to revise the upload a little bit so that you all can see the locations that were on the top 10 list that BPAC adopted. So that's one reason I just brought this up, put it on your radar. I also wanted to share that we're still talking to Dinesh and their sub-consultants, and we have been discussing the idea of producing some more graphics to depict study results. In particular, we're going to have some maps probably that will display the the volumes at each location in this sort of visual way. So you might have a dot for each location, and the bigger the dot, the higher the volume. So that will give us a cool way to visualize the data. And then the idea is that we'll add another overlay or another layer to the map that will show those counts and just some other interesting piece. We were thinking maybe bicyclist and pedestrian crashes across the county, and see if they're concentrated around the camera locations, for example, or how they relate to those usership levels. But we haven't hammered that out in stone yet. Still just waiting to hear back about the specifics. So I was curious if anyone on the committee had ideas for sort of maps or visuals that they might like to see based on the study.
David, I do have a question first. Designated bicycle facility. I understand these are counts, but is there also something that indicates whether there is a designated, whether there's what type of bicycle facility there is? Because if is 0, I mean that there's a facility, no one's using it, or there's no facility, so of course no one's using it on the sidewalk.
Right. I don't want to guess. I should go ask, but it does look like we have like a 0 here and a dash there. So maybe the dash means irrelevant, means NA.
That makes sense. Okay. And to answer your question about visuals, someone earlier today told me that they'd seen a correlation to this data and Strava heat maps. Are you aware of this?
I hadn't heard about that. No. You said Strava heat maps?
Yeah.
Got it.
Do you have the data like in a per hour form?
We do. Yeah, I checked on that earlier. There are about 80 other spreadsheets, and this one and the vehicular one as well. Those are just summary sheets. But if you look in the other folders, you'll get an hour by hour. Yeah.
Could you go over the totals just one more time?
Absolutely. So for East Waters Avenue, east of Florida Avenue, we've got
what specifically is that the entire intersection?
I think it's just specifically on Waters Avenue. Just people passing a line. Imagine if you had a line cutting straight across Waters. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not crossing data.
Yeah, I think the camera was probably a little, because it says east of North Florida Avenue, but don't quote me on that. I'll check in again. Consultant. Honestly, I could pull up the vehicular counts. That might give some insights. Okay. Right, it looks like the counts are kind of targeted to just a single road, because you'll see we have northbound and southbound on some of the roads, but I'm not seeing any that have eastbound or westbound at the same time. So I think it's a count targeted to the road and not the entire intersection. But again, that's just my
Yeah, those just look like vehicular counts. There.
right, right. And yeah, these are the same top 10.
Yeah, you can go back to the other one.
Okay.
This is John Kmicky. Was just gonna, I'll make a note too, some of these locations will have higher ridership on weekdays, first weekends. So I don't know if that was considered in the data, but just keeping that in mind. I can tell you what a deal in Henderson, if it's probably the first Sunday of the month when they do the farmer's market, it'll probably be higher because there's people who will use that as an east-west route to get to the farmer's market. Just those kind of considerations in place.
Yeah, some of them, back to the stronger question, that would be an indicator of what exercise routes versus people commuting. Might not be struggle.
Okay, so could you go through real quick?
Oh, yeah. Do you want the just a recap of the bike ped numbers, right?
Yeah,
So, right, we had East Waters Avenue, east of North Florida, and that got 195 pedestrians and 74 bicyclists.
And that one was the one where we were talking about moving the bus stop or something. I think that was the one that you brought up, right?
Yeah, there's, well, it says east of North Florida. I mean, there's a route on water, a heavy route on Florida. There's a stop east of Florida. That would be on the side of, east of water. That would be on the dog track side, right?
Yeah.
Or no, Kmart, right? That's over there on Waters. That's where the old Kmart,
It's on the side opposite of McDonald's.
right? Right, yeah, we have a bus stop over there. So I'm wondering if a lot of the pedestrians, depending on when the hour of the day, if that's people transferring, walking over to that eastbound stop. There would be a lot of bicycle transfers too. So just curious what time of day that is.
Yeah, if I recall from the presentation last month that there were 24-hour surveillance, and you see the data collected. And then John, to address your question, they did talk about being cognizant of the day that they were taking that count, especially like schools, near schools, they would do it during the school week, things like that. I don't think they addressed the special events, but they said they were going to be cognizant of the days.
all right, thanks, Ben. Okay, anyone else have questions or want him to explain anything further here? All right, sounds good. So that is the last status report we have, so we can go ahead and move on to adjourning the meeting.
We still have the old and new business category. There's a couple of announcements to some things that the county's doing that you might be interested in. Just following on what Ben presented, the county is also carved out 12 counts for county operated trails out of our overall traffic counts program. We reserve 12 counts to be trail counts, and those will be happening next week, starting Wednesday through Saturday. So each count we'll get analysis of 12 hours of data on each of those days from, I forget the exact time we picked. I think it was 7 to 7, or maybe 6:30 to 6. I think we set it on 7 to 7. They are video counts, and they will be on 24 hours. So we won't get that analysis from our consultant, but we will have the ability to go look to see if there's nighttime activity there as well ourselves when we get the raw data. So we're kind of excited about that. We chose a Wednesday to Saturday span to capture some weekend activity, but also to get a couple of weekdays. We want to use this also, if you recall, we did a streetlight data collection effort last year, and we want to try to use some of these to calibrate some of those and see if we could make some sense out of some of the weird anomalies we saw in that. Those we pulled Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday as representative of weekdays, and we did not use Fridays. And then we had Saturdays and Sundays. So by doing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we get a little more commonality in what we're gathering. And we've got 12 sites we're getting data from, and they include the Northdale Lake Park Trail, which is up there in the Northdale area just west of Dale Mabry. The Old Fort King Trail, which is the one off of 301 in Thanodasassa. 2 locations on the Town and Country Greenway, 2 locations on the now divided lower portion of the Upper Tampa Bay Trail, and 1 on the upper portion of the Upper Tampa Bay Trail between Van Dyke and Looks Lake Fern. 1 on the Waterset Boulevard side path, which is part of our South Coast Greenway. 1 on the US 301 side path down by State Road 674, which is also part of the South Coast Greenway. Another 2 north of there on the US 301 side path between 19th and Boyette Road. That's a very long continuous side path on 301. That northern portion is not identified as South Coast Greenway, but it is a very long section. And then 1 on our new Shell Point Trail between Shell Point Drive and 19th as well. So we'll hopefully maybe in the summertime or early fall, we'll have, I could present some of the findings of that data. But we're excited to get 12 locations knocked out on that to add to our collective database. And then I alluded to it before. I don't know if it was mentioned at the last meeting, but there was a kind of an emergency closure of the bridge on the Upper Tampa Bay Trail. And so that bridge was slated for replacement, I believe, beginning next year. But there was an inspection that revealed it needed to be closed immediately last month. And so that happened, and there was county press release that kind of took everybody by surprise, but they are doing their best to advance both the bidding and design and construction processes that were already budgeted and, kind of teed up for next year to bring them forward into this year and try to accelerate that so that we're not looking at a prolonged closure of that trail. That was kind of big news of a county facility last month.
Yeah, thanks for those updates. I can provide one kind of offhand update. The northern portion of the Green Spine Trail along Nucio Parkway is getting extended up further to the north to it's
Cascading Pool.
the whole way up there along the park. And that should be done, they went ahead and signed the construction agreement, and construction should be done in April of 25. So, yeah,
That's extending the protective line over 7.
from
Yeah.
yeah, the whole way up to the end of that park, because it's gated park there.
That'll be nice, because that's the stretch that goes right by the bakery there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely it's not comfortable right now to do a high speed road. Yeah, so, okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Jim Shark, I move we adjourn.
Have a second.
Anybody else for a second?
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
It's really bad.
It is, I know.
Maybe ever.
Yeah.